Most people go into monster movies with big dumb carnage in mind. Death and destruction, smoke and screaming, and big dumb carnage. But to get to that, you'd have to go through some god-awful writing and the most shallow characters you've ever seen. Godzilla Minus One took one look at that trope and said, "Hold my atomic breath, I'm doing things differently." No, it wasn't the latest CGI festival with a budget the size of a small country. No, it wasn't another reboot of a beloved franchise, dripping with nostalgic callbacks and tired tropes. This, my friends, is a film that crawled out of the cracks of independent cinema and shifted the paradigm across the entire industry. Godzilla Minus One isn't just a great monster mash, it's a return to form, reminding us that Godzilla was originally about people, the monsters we create, the evils of government, and the power of community. It gives us the most catastrophic version of Godzilla in his 70 years of existence, offering beyond death, destruction, and an emotional gut punch. Now, this movie has been reviewed a lot, and most of it reads like this movie is somehow the first Godzilla entry since the '54 original to have believable characters and a satisfying narrative. While this is not true, it does excel a lot of what's been missing in most of the reboots and rehashes. Putting Godzilla back in the context of post-World War II Japan works so well. It takes this watered-down character and restores him to his original glory as a terrifying metaphor for atomic horror and lingering Japanese psychological trauma. It chronicles the years in the life of a man broken and haunted by the darkness and devastation that enveloped the world following the introduction of the atomic bomb and the bleak radioactive future set upon the coming generations. A flawed hero who fails in his duty to his country as a kamikaze pilot. That thorny context weaves through the story and builds to this emotionally massive choice as he tries to protect those he finds himself responsible for. Enter Godzilla, a disaster that breathes, the most violent of all living creatures, and he's here to fuck shit up. There's an overwhelming dread to Godzilla's appearances here. His first sighting is a jump scare, like a nightmare becoming flesh. I love that they treat Godzilla as the unstoppable force of nature that he is, and not at all like he's portrayed in Hollywood. This guy felt like the real king of the monsters. He's neither good nor evil. He just is, and he's angry. The sheer power, palpable terror, and futility that characters were forced to deal with whenever he showed up jumps at you through the screen. He's not just a big monster that goes raw like in Hollywood adaptations. Another way it really contrasted with American monster movies was how confident they were in showing Godzilla in the visuals. Most of the scenes with Godzilla are pretty well lit. No darkness or weird light to hide choppy CGI and editing. Yeah, there are some weak points with the CGI here and there, but they really outdid themselves for a movie that cost less than $15 million. In the midst of this, it tells its story pretty well. Character development is organic and well-paced, deriving complex and flawed characters. Themes are subtle and well communicated. The storytelling doesn't treat you like you're dumb. It doesn't throw jokes or action every 5 minutes to try and keep you engaged. It has an emotional core that it delivers beautifully. And, in the end, it convinces you to have hope for characters who no longer have any. Godzilla, as a metaphor, has never been more eloquently handled, and the film's message about war, peace, guilt, trauma, and wreckage, on scales both grand and intimate, are quietly, powerfully delivered. It is a once nostalgic throwback to the classic Godzilla movies, while also feeling like a radical reinvention of the entire franchise. No over-bloated budgets that seem suspiciously like tax evasions. No mind-numbing CGI clusterfucks consuming everything on the screen. No inorganic social justice messaging. No minority character shooed in for a comic relief role. And most of all, respect for the audience. There's a depth to Godzilla Minus One that I haven't seen in a Hollywood movie for a while. In recent Hollywood blockbusters, the cast and story are basically filler between the billion-dollar action sequences. Even in the better action films, the emotional stakes are stunted. Like there's no real consequences even for the characters. Cities and even entire planets can be laid to waste and no one cares. It's all about the sick burn, the funny quip, and maybe a cat joke. It's what one has come to expect of American films now. Big, over-the-top CGI vistas, slow camera movement, plodding music that's supposed to make it sound important, and awful, unsubtle dialogue. It's even worse with expensive movies from streaming platforms. Consider Netflix's new blockbuster, Rebel Moon. I'm an occasional enjoyer of Zack Snyder's work, but it's a perfect example of everything that's gone wrong with Hollywood in recent times. Zack Snyder's blockbuster is extremely derivative and pre-digested, and all of the characters seem like they've been in 50 other similar movies. The plot seems to be crafted for the modern fast food palate. There's a lot to look at with every frame, like they're trying to convince you to keep watching. The focus on spectacle overshadows anything the movie stands for, and, in the end, the movie makes no impact whatsoever, and all of this cost at least 10 times more than our kaiju movie. With Godzilla Minus One, even the silence progresses the story. The film throws cryptic clues, unsettling whispers, and ambiguous encounters at you, trusting that you put it all together. It's a slow burn, sure, but the payoff is a sense of dread and wonder that sticks with you like radioactive fallout. Godzilla Minus One proved that you don't need a billion-dollar budget and tired tropes to make a monster movie that resonates. It shows that audience crave originality, depth, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. Plus, the effects are so much better than the slop that turns up on streaming, and sometimes theaters too, lately, earning it a nomination for Best Visual Effects at the 96th Academy Awards. The sound design was also very well done. Every time Godzilla roared, it triggered my fight or flight reflexes. And the classic 1954 score, a special callback to the classics. It's nothing less than art, made by talented people that genuinely care about the kaiju-verse. Many reviewers says it has no social message, but that's simply false. The social message is just a pleasant and an agreeable one. It's about the value of living and forgiving yourself even in the most auspicious of times. That there's honor to be found in choosing life. There's also clear anti-war messaging, which to me is a poignant social commentary, especially in the current political climate. So, the value of this movie isn't the lack of politics, but with the subtlety in which it's communicated. So, if you haven't seen Godzilla Minus One, you absolutely should. The movie balances panic-inducing urgency, careful writing, and tight character work, infused into monster movie absurdism. I went into that theater expecting to see a monster destroying stuff, but instead I got an anti-war, anti-government epic about bravery, community, and the human spirit. How this $15 million Japanese reboot of a 70-year-old franchise became the best movie of 2023, I have no idea, but Hollywood stakeholders need to take a long, hard look at themselves and what they've put out. The audience is tired of the recycled ideas, predictable plots, and endless sequels. Cut the overblown budgets, cut the mind-numbing CGI, cut the cynicism, and cut the lazy politicking.
I'm an idiot.
Have you seen Godzilla Minus One? Where does it rank among your favorite monster movies? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.